So I just got done watching Tiny Toons Looniversity, and I have to say that as a massive Tiny Toons fan, Tiny Toons Looniversity is really good, and I really liked it. I figured I'd just turn on my microphone and ramble for a bit about how much I like the show and kind of talk about a couple things that it made me think about, because there's a lot to talk about with this show, and I wanted to kind of get my opinions out as fast as I could, because I really want the creators or whoever's in charge of the show or whatever to hear this feedback and to take it to heart. They probably won't, but you know, if you guys do, if any of the animators see this, if anybody who worked on the show sees this, y'all are doing a good job. Keep it up. It's a good time. Please listen to my dumb opinions. So there's a couple things I want to talk about regarding this show, and regarding kind of what it's made me think about. And the first big thing is how much more of a positive response I've had to this show compared to the Animaniacs reboot. I really didn't like the Animaniacs reboot, like, at all. I felt that above all else, it was just way too mean-spirited. Yes, the original show had like a lot of modern day satire, but it also had heart. And that was probably the biggest thing that I felt was missing from the newer show, is that heart. Its humor is very, very, very cynical, and it's angry, and it feels mean-spirited. It feels gross. It feels wrong. There's ideas in it that, when you take a step back for a second, are just really genuinely upsetting. Like when the Animaniacs reboot was canceled, they literally kill the entire cast with a meteor. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's actually what fucking happens at the end of that show. They literally kill everyone with a meteor. Like what the fuck is wrong with these people who wrote this show? What joyless, what happened to you? Why are you like this? Why would you take Slappy Squirrel and have her say that she hates her fans the way they fucking treat Pepe Le Pew? It's like, no, that joke is not funny. That joke is dark. That's the last time we've ever seen that skunk, and that's fucked up. It's a continuation of the original thing, so it takes those characters that used to be heartfelt and like have moments of like realness to them. It took them and twisted them into cynical assholes who say, hey, doesn't everything suck? Isn't that funny? And no, it's not. We don't need cynicism in this day and age. In this day of age, people don't want cynicism because life fucking sucks right now. So this made me very, very, very scared about the quality of Tiny Toons and how they would reboot that show. But I was giving it a chance, and I'm happy to say that Tiny Toons Looniversity was very well done. It is not cynical. The show wants you to laugh, and it's not concerned with trying to be the exact same thing as the original show, because it has this new concept now. It's not doing adventures, it's doing Looniversity. It's doing its own thing, so they're focusing on that, and they're just focusing on good jokes, good character writing, and just making you smile and just laugh. And that is why I like it so much better. It is way, way less cynical. It is way more genuine, and it's heartfelt. The decision to call it Tiny Toons Looniversity instead of Tiny Toon Adventures is smart. It immediately sets it apart from Tiny Toon Adventures, because Tiny Toon Adventures was a variety show where they would hop between different characters. You'd have Babs and Buster Bunny, or you'd have Fifi LaFume and like Calamity Coyote, or you could have a Hampton and Plucky episode or whatever. While the new show is not called Adventures, it's called Looniversity. It's focused on the main starting idea that Tiny Toons stemmed from. The idea that all these toons are going to a school to learn how to be toons. And while I'm not a big fan of school settings at all, I'm like very tired of them, what I do enjoy is school settings set in worlds that are completely different than ours, and that give you an insight into how that world works. The original Tiny Toons had this, I forget the name of the episode, but there's an episode where Babs is looking for a female toon to inspire her, for her to be a fan of, and she finds out about this old black and white rubber hose toon, and it kind of gives us lore about how toon aging works, and like how if a toon is not actively remembered, they get older and older. It was interesting. It makes you feel like these characters and like this world is real, even though it's just a bunch of funny cartoon characters running around, and they do shit like that with the new show, because they're able to focus on the fact that it's a school. They can have a character who is learning say, hey, how does this work? And Professor Wile E. Coyote can, well, he doesn't talk, but he can say, here's how toons don't get injured, here's how toons are able to get blown up, smashed, and all this other stuff without getting hurt. But here's why we also need Toon Doctors, because sometimes it does happen, and here is why. You didn't need to do that. You didn't need to go into a weirdly science fiction explanation for how toons work, but it's so much fun to like experience that kind of thing. And I think that's where the school setting shines the most, is when they are focused on, hey, this is how this toon world works. I think they did a really, really good job with it, and I think the direction was a good idea. I also really like what they did with the animation. Animation looks fucking great. It is very well done, and even better, it's like very accurate to the original show. It's very on model to those original characters, but it's got its own unique flair. Like, characters will go off model for the purpose of a joke. Characters will animate in ways that they wouldn't animate back in the day to accentuate the comedy, and it works very, very well, and it's very, very good. Even though the voice acting is a little weird to get used to, you will get used to it, and you'll just completely forget that they don't sound like the original characters after a while. I mean, it might nag at the back of your brain, but it doesn't really matter. The new voice actors are doing an excellent job conveying these characters and their new and improved personalities. Because this is not a continuation, this is a reboot, this is a new continuity, they have slightly tweaked every single character and drastically tweaked some characters in order to make things work better for the setting and to work better for the kinds of jokes they want to tell. For example, Sweetie Bird has gone from being a fucking psychopath to being a character now, instead of her just being a Tweety Bird similar character who was far more malicious. She's now a like punk friend for Babs to learn to get along with, and it's great. The big one they changed was that Babs and Buster Bunny are now related. And at first I was like, what the fuck, they can't get rid of the joke. The main joke of Tiny Toons is Chris from the future here. I just wanted to interject a quick little addendum to this section, because I kept seeing posts that were just so fucking stupid, I had to comment on it. I kept seeing YouTube videos, articles, and comments about how people were so upset that they retconned this. But it's not a fucking retcon. A retcon is when you change something in the past with a new addition to the story. It's when you retroactively go back and change something with a new piece of information. This doesn't apply to Tiny Toons. Looniversity and Adventures are two completely different continuities. They have no effect on each other. Looniversity does not change anything about Adventures. These characters, this world, this everything is completely different, and this is not a fucking retcon. Words have meaning. You were wrong. You were just wrong. That's not how words work. I hate fuck. Anyway, I felt this was important to interject because people are dumb on the internet and it makes me mad. Anyway, continuing. But now they're brother and sister. Now they're twins. The more I got used to that idea, the more the show went on, the more I was okay with it. They're able to use that to make more jokes. They're able to use that to inform their personalities. They're able to use that to kind of push the idea that these toons are there to grow as people. And yeah, it is different, but ultimately it doesn't really change that much. If they were saying the old joke all the time, I think I would be more annoyed by that. When you're just taking old jokes and just repeating them, it's not funny, and I think the writers knew that, and one of the most easy ways to change that and to kind of throw things off was to immediately, right off the bat, just be like, nope, they're siblings, they're related, that joke is out the window, we're depending on new jokes. And I honestly have a lot of respect for that. I think that's a very brave decision to make. A lot of people aren't going to like that. I didn't like it at first, but I got used to it. Babs and Buster Bunny are very close, they're very dependent on each other, but now that they're in different dorms, they're learning to depend on new people, and learning how to interact with new people and spend their days with those new friends, and it works a lot better. It's really, really nice. I like it. Like, I like seeing Buster learn to be friends with Hampton and Plucky, because he's not friends with them right off the bat. Like, he has to figure out, like, if he likes them and why he likes them. In fact, Plucky and Buster don't like each other at all. They're just straight up rivals. They take the rivalry that they had in the original show and they crank it up to 10. They focus on that, and they kind of make that their dynamic, and I like it a lot more. It's a lot more focused. It's a lot more interesting, and they kind of crank that narcissistic, full of himself thing that Plucky has always had, and they kind of crank that up to make him more unique. Because the problem the original show had, as much as I love the original show, it really was, hey, what if we just make a younger version of the existing character? And while it did start as that, they eventually took those characters and made them their own thing, and they like grew grew and developed into their own characters, and that was interesting. The nice thing is that Looniversity has hindsight and has that information already available to them, so the show is starting out with that character development. They already know who these characters are because of that old show, and they're able to tweak them in ways that make them work good for the new show, and it's great. Pretty much every single character comes back. However, some of the characters come back in ways that are very different than their original presence. Some characters have been moved forward into the spotlight, and other characters have been pushed back into the crowd. This way they can have a more focused cast, because the show is, once again, it's a Looniversity show. It is focused on the main group of characters. It's not as focused on the side adventures of the other characters. And that's kind of a bummer, because I'm a big fan of a lot of those side characters, mainly Fifi LaFume and Calamity Coyote. And speaking of Fifi LaFume, I might as well get into it right off the bat because I really want to talk about it. Fifi LaFume is back, and she's in the show proper. She's great. She's wonderful. They're doing good jokes with her. She's funny. She's cute. But unfortunately, there's no Pepe. It's something that is blatantly missing. Every other toon has their inspirations that they look up to. Buster's whole thing is he looks up to Bugs Bunny, and Dizzy Devil being inspired by Taz. Dizzy even works in the same cafe slash coffee shop slash whatever that Taz runs, which is, by the way, a really good bit and works. I don't know why it works. I don't know why Taz running a cafe works, but it does, and I like it, and I'm here for it. But anyway, everybody has that mentor character they look up to. They're not the same as that character. They're their own characters, but they look up to that character, and they're inspired by them. Fifi does not have Pepe anymore because Warner Bros. Is stupid about Pepe Le Pew right now. I fucking hate what Warner Bros. Has been doing with Pepe Le Pew because it's stupid. Pepe is one of the main casts. He's a character who, yeah, has not aged amazingly. Like, his joke could be updated, but that's the thing. Like, nobody has bothered to update his joke. Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Wile E. Coyote, every single other character has had their jokes updated and modified to work with modern times, except for Pepe Le Pew. And there have been a million shows that have come out since Pepe Le Pew's shorts that have done the idea of an overly romantic character. Fucking Johnny Bravo exists. You can do such really smart things with Pepe Le Pew if you just let people who give a shit and are good at writing handle the character. And I think the Tiny Toons writers could be the people to do this. They could do an episode that's like, hey, you know, his bit is kind of not as cool nowadays, and they're not giving him a chance to kind of say, like, yeah, no, I know that. The joke should be that Pepe Le Pew is being given bad scripts by people who don't know how to write him, and because he's been given bad scripts, people think he is the character that's the problem, and not the people who don't know how to fucking write a cartoon skunk. It's easier to just say, oh, Pepe Le Pew bad, to earn some fake internet points that nobody cares about. It's not, nobody cares. It's not a real issue. It's fucking 2023. Who cares? It's Pepe Le Pew. There's actual people within Warner Brothers and outside of Warner Brothers and in the Hollywood space in general who are committing real sex crimes and are committing real things that actually hurt people. Why are we pointing to the cartoon skunk? And it's not true anyway. He's a fucking cartoon that doesn't even have a penis unless I'm drawing him. So the whole point of this little rant is to say, fuck you, Warner Brothers. Just give Pepe to these character writers and have them do a funny little story about how Pepe is kind of ostracized for, you know, having bad scripts that aren't his fucking fault, and that him and Penelope are actually in a very healthy and loving relationship. They're just not allowed to show that because nobody fucking writes it into the scripts. And maybe Fifi's like, I want skunks to have toon skunks to have a better reputation because there's a lot of us because we're fucking cute, and French toon skunks are great. Even it's fuck you. Just put Pepe in the show. Sorry, I got heated there. I just really care about cartoon skunks. Anyway, point is, every single character comes back, and they're pretty darn good considering the current state of Warner Brothers. I like how they're doing Fifi LaFume right now, but I'd like to see her and some of the other cast members who've been pushed to the side have their own episodes. Oh, before I forget, I also want to mention Lola Bunny is brought back, and it made me smile to see her come back, and I said to myself, hey, that's fun, that's good, she's on a skateboard, look at her go. Anyway, this has been my very thorough and very easy to follow and understand ramp. The show's good. Go watch it. It's fun. It's a good time. I love you. Have a good day. I like the gay raccoon. He's really fucking good. If they don't bring back more of this fucking raccoon, I will riot. This is the gayest fucking raccoon I've ever met, and I'm a furry.